Greetings all, greetings all. Taking a trip down Noir City. Talking about the 1920s created private eye Philip Marlowe, as well as the 1930s creation Sam Spade. Now again, you might know both these characters because Humphrey Bogart portrayed them respectively in The Big Sleep, as well as The Maltese Falcon. The reason, these characters are referenced everywhere, from primetime TV to even getting a mention in the Liam Neeson serial killer mystery, A Walk Among the Tombstones, which itself is based off a very darkly witted yet very gritty, crime novel. And I'm just going to go through just casually, just talking about how these characters have their different portrayals, their different interpretations, why they really stand out as well as they do. And, let's go through it. So, Philip Marlowe, he's probably one of the better known private eye characters that is referenced by, all kinds of pulp novelists and all kinds of other movies and TV shows. And he's been adapted into even several different radio plays too. But, aside from The Big Sleep, he appeared in Farewell My Lovely, as well as The Long Goodbye. We'll get to some of those adaptations. He's in his 30s and he's trying to find out who killed his partner, as well as trying to find a love life on the side. So I think that's just the overall essence. When you see people referencing any kind of neo-noir, they want that guy who's not a sleaze, but just he's a ladies' man, and while he's investigating very dangerous people, and a medium heavy build, occupying different hotels, and then renting a house in Laurel Canyon. It's pretty much guaranteed that if you see a new age noir character, they took a hand from either him or Sam Spade. And he's appeared in the various other short stories that have included him include Try the Girl, Mandarin's Jade, Red Wind, The King in Yellow, and Pearls Are a Nuisance, and The Bronze Door. He was created by author Raymond Chandler, who was born in 1888 and passed away in 1959 at the age of 70. And The Big Sleep was placed on the Crime Writers Association poll, the 100 best crime novels. So many people like him, including just other various authors, and including Robert B. Parker, who is best known as creating the detective character Spencer for Hire, which also became a bunch of TV movies and TV shows. So I do love this whole kind of deal of authors inspiring other people's careers and doing two sides of the same coin. But Marlowe, Chandler once said that wandering up and down the Pacific Coast in an automobile, he began to read pulp magazines because they were cheap enough to throw away, and because he never had at any time any taste for the kind of thing which is known as women's magazines. So he made use of the Black Mass magazine, which hosted a lot of both the Marlowe and Sam Spade character. And he thought it was a good way to write fiction, get paid a small amount of money at the same time, and of course, talk about an investment. Marlowe is just a total badass. He's always pretty much having to have the final say after just going into just different problematic areas of, cities, various slums, various fancy elite stuff. Evil always finds a way to encounter him, and he always has to find a way out of it. But yeah, some of the other books that have yet to be adapted are The Little Sister and The Lady in the Lake. But actually, I take that back. I think that's The High Window that didn't get an adaptation. But yeah, no. There's been Robert B. Parker apparently took over the character, and I did see an adaptation of this book he did called Poodle Springs, but that became an HBO movie with James Caan in the role. The character, much like Sam Spade, has been popular in radio. CBS Radio had a syndicated show called The Adventures of Philip Marlowe from 48 to 51. And of course, the BBC did one in 2011 with Toby Stephens. I've never been a fan of Toby Stephens since he was a terrible James Bond villain, and he's been in some better stuff like Black Sails, the TV show, but who knows? Maybe it's okay. I'm not going to listen to it anytime soon. Michael Madsen has apparently played this character. That's what I find just even more wild. I will definitely check that out because Madsen has made a living playing noir-ish characters. So Elliot Gould played him in The Long Goodbye. Obviously, Bogart was the best known one. Van Heflin played him on the radio. Robert Montgomery played him on both film and the radio. George Montgomery as well. Philip Carey played him on TV. James Garner even played him in a film. And I've definitely seen the Robert Mitchum movies, which were by the Death Wish directors, so that they were good for what they were. Powers Booth, I know, had a short-lived HBO TV show, and Danny Glover played the character on a Steven Soderbergh produced show for Showtime called City of Angels, which was, again, much like Tales from the Crypt, just standalone Tales of the Week, connected by one theme, and it had its share of it was their excuse to do just noir stuff. Wikipedia noted some other stuff on just movies that have referenced it. I'm not going to go for all of them, but the HBO comedy show Bored to Death apparently references a lot of that material through either character names or titles of the episodes. The very confusing BBC serial drama, which later became a Robert Downey Jr. movie, called The Singing Detective, apparently is a very meta movie where an actor is playing a Marlowe-esque character. But obviously people are also noticing how Captain Picard on the Star Trek show The Next Generation would have a holodeck simulation, and it was a regurgitation of those well-known noir type characters, and that he called his character Dixon Hill. There's also a few other just foreign movies and even a Czechoslovakian comedy film that premiered this. Clips of Bogart's character from The Big Sleep were used in the Steve Martin parody movie Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. I'm due for a rewatch of that, but I recall it being really well done. And Marlowe is the man. There's even apparently was a video game in '96. So I mean, this is a character that will not die. There's something very just relishing about how he just kind of approaches people. He gets information. He's not a wise ass. He's a gentleman. I still need to see the new Liam Neeson movie. Yeah, that's right. Coincidentally, Liam Neeson did do a recent movie I've been due to watch. I will definitely check out some of the newer novels. I want to say that, yeah, there's even some comic books that adapt some of the novels that were in 2003, so I'm going to definitely check those out someday. So let's go on to Sam Spade. Sam Spade is, again, known for the Maltese Falcon, finding, belongings and other trouble wherever he goes. And I like how he's kind of better with the wordplay and you can kind of see a bit of him in something like The Rockford Files or even a comedy show like Psych. I think he is definitely the more, Marlowe does a lot of drinking, smoking, and womanizing, while Spade is kind of more just, he's a blonde, and even though he can be a little mischievous, he's not dumb or getting himself into trouble, but he's a classier kind of guy, I would describe him as. And so Maltese Falcon was written in 1930, and he was serialized in various issues of Black Mask. Spade and Archer was a book that followed, and the radio adventures of Sam Spade were also put together, but those were numerous years later. I'm talking the 2000s. There's been various other short stories by other approved authors. The author of the Sam Spade character is Dashiell Hammel, and he was born in 1894 and died in 1961 at the age of 66. And he was also a highly regarded mystery novel guy, but they definitely call him a hard-boiled detective fiction guy. So Sam Spade is actually a Christian, if you can believe it. So yeah, he's pretty laid back. He's always the bigger man, and I don't even know who I would describe as the better performance with Bogart. I mean, I kind of consider The Big Sleep the better movie as the Marlowe character, but I do kind of like his portrayal of Sam Spade way better in The Maltese Falcon. He's just way better framed there. So Spade in general fiction is, he has a deceased wife, he has a son of the same name, and he's, much like Marlowe, he's investigating a mixture of just corrupt individuals, other problematic and scummy guys, but he's also just, again, he kind of just surveys the area more, and kind of more of a Sherlock Holmes kind of guy. And but apparently author Hammett had done a similar thing called a Continental Op, and he was a PI guy at a San Francisco office, and it was his attempt, as he said, to get from less than glamorous life kind of portrayals and just have more find a mystery and solve it. And I understand that. You definitely, The Big Sleep has all kinds of, scumbags and sleaze, and not so much here. Apparently, so this character's been played also in by Warren Williams in Satan Met a Lady, an earlier version of The Maltese Falcon from 1931 starring Ricardo Cortez, who was a actor and director once known as Jack Crane. A Columbia parody movie in 1975 called The Blackbird, and The Strange Case of the End of Civilization as We Know It by Mike O'Malley, which was a Sherlock Holmes spoof movie starring John Cleese. I have not heard of this, but it sounds great. And much like Marlowe, he's been in numerous radio dramas by the Screen Guild Theater, the Lux Radio Theater, and a few unaired CBS TV pilots from the 50s, and an NBC premiere, Charlie Wild, Private Detective, which was also a radio program. And my bad, so Michael Madsen did not play Marlowe, he played Sam Spade. So yeah, this was a Grammy-nominated audio play. It also starred Sandra Oh and Edward Herrmann. was produced by the Hollywood Theater and released on Blackstone Audio. There's apparently going to be an upcoming AMC-produced show called Monsieur Spade in 2024 this year, starring Clive Owen, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, Marlowe had his share of numerous other audio dramas and movie and TV adaptations, but Spade, he literally has it in spades. He's been featured in Detective Conan manga. He's was featured in Air Tonic ads in the 50s, and there was a comic book adaptation of the Maltese Falcon in the 40s. So yeah, no, he's always being readapted as well. Not as much, but he seems to be a way more popular character just because he's easier to adapt and, again, classier and less problematic characters that he has to face off with. And he's also been portrayed by Stephen Dunn and Tom Wilkinson, so that's awesome. Yeah, no, I find it just interesting how just this character just is just kind of just he's just I know I'm kind of running loose on the descriptions here, but he's kind of just he speaks for himself and when he has to. And he's produced a DC Comics character called Tim Trench, who first appeared in a Wonder Woman comic, who was inspired by Spade. And there's even the Maltese Falcon Society, which an award that goes to honoring people who come up with noir characters. So I love how people are giving out awards that are based on this character. So yeah, no, this is awesome. I think these characters are going to just continue to just find a purpose and continually be readapted just because they're just larger than life. They're kind of every guy's fantasy. They're charming for the ladies. They're the perfect example of how to come up with characters that are bigger than the sum of their parts and yet have a bit of humanity in them. And I can applaud that to anybody, because this is not easy to come up with. But yeah, I will try to do more thorough reviews on the actual material of that, especially those audio dramas in the future. But for now, I just thought I'd do kind of a brief mini review on the history of these characters and their adaptations. But thank you for listening.
We'll return after these messages.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win Show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up